Now I get back to
Now
this
you
way.
understand my statistics.
Yes, what?
Okay.
It was over 5 minutes, wasn't it, Rhonda?
Yes, sir, it sure was.
I'm sorry.
I was messing with you.
I want you back off a little. All right, ladies and gentlemen, did I sign it? Ladies and gentlemen, there was no action taken in executive session. Pardon? Yeah, so I'd make the motion we go back into regular session.
I'll make a motion we return to regular session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, motion made, second, we go back into regular session. We are now in the regular session, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm reporting that no action was taken in executive session. You're taking Dwayne Johnson's place.
So moved.
Mr. Raymond moves we adjourn. Is there a second? All in favor say aye. Aye. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. You know it's already all. John, you and Eric need to sign this. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
We really don't want to cut nobody's water off or, cut it on if they need to or whatever, but it's just something we need to follow up on. I don't know what the best way to take and put this out there to the public, whether it's running in the paper or whether it's to take and send it out, a notice with the water bills or whatever to all of our city residents and everything. But it's something that does need to be addressed. It cuts down on time and everything else, and the fellows out here trying to do work.
Let's mention it to Ms. Lori and see if she can insert it, a reminder to everybody on the water bill.
Yeah.
We have done a little something like that before, I remember.
And I think that would be fine. I think, it wouldn't be a bad idea either if we put it in the paper to remind people that we needed to do it.
All right.
And that's my spiel on it and everything else. I just wanted to bring it to y'all's attention so we can take some action on it.
Let's work, I mentioned her, Bernice, if you would this week. And
She's
see-
got the flu. I don't know when she'll be back.
Oh, my Lord. Well, I'm glad she's not as big. She's got the flu. Well, we'll work on it. Okay, let's move on to item 4. Bernice, I believe that's your item.
Yes. In your packet, you actually see the 2018 meeting schedule, and the reason I did this, as you know, we had a holiday yesterday, so you voted last month to move the meeting to tonight. The remainder of the year is pretty well accurate for our council meeting. However, in November, Veterans Day falls on Monday, November the 12th. So, you would need to have your meeting Tuesday, November the 13th. This is approving the work schedule unless an emergency comes up and you have to have a call meeting, but this gives you each night of your work session and each night of your regular council meeting. So this is something for you all to look at and possibly vote on Thursday night.
Good, thank you. Is that it? Yep. All right, Chief, Police, Chief, come forward. You got 5, 6, and 7, I believe.
Yes, sir. Number 5 is investigators and more attending search and seizure training at the training center in Forsyth. It's free training. We just have to pay $30 a night for lodging and his meals. That's a week-long deal, January 22nd through the 26th.
Okay, we've still got time to approve that Thursday night, right?
Number 6 is my annual training. It's the winter conference for the Georgia Association of Chiefs of Police. This will be in Athens, and it is 3 days. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
That is mandatory, correct?
That is mandatory executive hours.
And that's the first week in February.
That's right, yes, sir.
All right, and the
Number
third,
7 is counter sniper level 1 training for Officer John Lee and Chris Morrison. And this is a week long. It's the end of February into the 1st of March. This is also free training at the training center in Forsyth, and it would be $30 a night plus meals. That's what that is.
okay, gentlemen, y'all got any questions of the chief relative to the training?
Train your people.
All right, we'll take these, all 3 of these, and we'll work on Thursday night. Yeah, all right. Okay, Madam Attorney, you were with us when we brought in the opioid addiction crisis group and what they were wanting to do. Would you brief the council on that?
In short, this law firm is wanting the city and also Jeff Davis County and other government across the state and other states too, is to sue the manufacturer of opioids for their losses that come from law enforcement, drug screens, just anywhere the city has any losses due to opioid addiction. And what they're saying is that it won't cost the city anything to hire them or to prosecute the case, and that they'll get paid out of any recovery. However, Ken and I sat down and went through the contract that they sent and the resolution that they sent. And it's very clear to us, they don't understand how the city of Hazelhurst is operated. We would get eaten alive in discovery, which basically means we would have to devote all the girls up front to going and digging through boxes of records to locate these, whatever the other side's attorneys requested. Our city just is not set up with electronic records keeping to where we can just punch a button and print out whatever they want. And if you read the contract that they sent, they talk about, they will pay for, electronic records recovery, but I highly doubt they're gonna pay us tens of thousands of dollars it's gonna take in the city employees' time and wages to go and dig through these documents. Because we're talking about digging through records in the back here and going to records over in Old City Hall. Ken, my recommendation is not to get into it. I think we're gonna lose money trying to do it. Because those big law firms will bury us in paperwork.
Did any council have any questions they want to direct to the attorney?
You answered mine. I was gonna ask what your opinion of it was. I mean, I just briefly looked at it, but I was like, is it gonna be something that's gonna be beneficial to us? I understand it would be beneficial to take and recoup money and everything else, but if it's gonna cost us more money in the long run, is it?
It's they did explain that it's a long-term thing. It's not anything that's gonna happen overnight. It may be 3, 5, 7 years in the doings. They did say, and this was a promotional tool, sales tool, that it's gonna be somewhat like the tobacco settlement, and we know what a tremendous sin that was in a lot of areas. We threw a lot of ours away out there in that old landfill, but at any rate, according to them looking at it and what she's told me, I don't know whether we want to deal with it or not, but let's all study about it. This is a planning session, and you know what's involved, and we can all study about it in the days to come.
And just to put this out there too, it's gonna eat Chief Williams' staff up too, because his records are separate from the records here at City Hall. So it's gonna tie up police department resources and City Hall resources.
So before we sign a contract with them on this thing, we better study about it a little bit more. Okay, let's move along. The next 3 items, the water sewer adjustments and the report on the water usage and the check registers all there. I entertain a motion to approve all 3, well, we won't approve them now. I want us to handle, anybody got any questions on it? I'm trying to get through this. Anybody got any questions? If not, I move on to the Golf Course Advisory Committee. Have you read that report of the minutes and all from the Golf Course Committee? Anybody got any questions about that? Everybody satisfied with the, no questions about the water and sewer report, the council or the check register or the Golf Course Advisory Committee report? Okay, we'll handle anything we need to do on that Thursday night. Okay, citizens' comment.
I have a suggestion.
All right.
Going back to the numbering of the house address, why don't y'all get Miss Anderson to put something on Facebook page?
Yeah, that'll help. A lot of people read that. Yeah. Yeah, that needs to be done on the webpage, and y'all can handle it on our Facebook stuff too. That'll help.
That's what I'm talking about. Get Mary Ann to do that.
Yeah, and our, yeah, okay. All right. Any other comments from citizens?
I'm just gonna interject here, Mayor. Thursday night, these items will be on the agenda. I wanted you to be aware of it. It was not necessary to put it in your packets tonight. Clerk's training, mandatory, will be February 4th through the 6th at Jekyll Island, Georgia. I'll be taking 3 courses. That will only leave me 1. I will need the council to possibly look at approval for me to travel for hotel and meal expense. We received the tax exempt letter from the attorney's office for the city of Hazelhurst to Renaissance Bank, and it's good until the end of December of this year. Also, the council will need to look at approving mileage reimbursement for business travel in personal vehicles for the city of Hazelhurst. It is up 1 cent from last year. It is now 54.5 cents per mile. And those items will, 2 of those items will be on the agenda for Thursday night.
Any questions relative to those items that the clerk has mentioned? All right, entertain a motion that we go into executive session for real estate and personnel matters.
Make a motion.
Mr. Griffin made the motion that we go into executive session for real estate and personnel matters. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ramey. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be gone for just a little while. I'm very, try to be on time, and I got 1 minute. 1 minute. Set your watch. You turn your gas, it's on, ladies. You fix the kick off. Yours is over. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the hour has arrived. Let's, I call this meeting to order. So Griffin, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
Let us pray. Our God and Father in heaven, thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us to be here to take care of our city business. Let our decisions we make be wise, prudent, and in the best interest of the city. All these things we ask in your Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
I'm gonna get a little out of order here. Let's stand and pledge allegiance to our flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gentlemen, you've got the agenda before you. I do have a little, I want to suggest with your help and approval. Chief Wasden was expecting our new machinery in here today. He was going to be involved, but the weather has delayed his arrival. And it's possible it's going to be here Thursday night, so he asked if he could switch, and I told him I thought that the council would approve that. So I'd like to approve inserting a 2A, item 2A, which will be Chief Wasden. He's put some papers on your desk here. Somebody make a motion, we'll.
Make a motion, we amend the agenda as stated.
Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ramey. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, gentlemen, you have before you an amended agenda. Entertain a motion that we approve it. Or is that, first of all, is there anything else that anybody else would like to insert anywhere? Hearing none, then I entertain a motion that we approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Ramey has moved that we approve the agenda as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Griffin. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we've got an agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We've got an agenda, gentlemen. Let's proceed. Ms. Pope, you're first on the agenda.
I hope I don't take too much time. Maybe not. If you don't know me, my name is Dorothy Pope. I'm a retired educator. I taught art at Jeff Davis High for 30 years. And today I'm going to represent the Jeff Davis Retired Educator Association. And then I want to have a few of my little comments. I have some concerns about the roundabouts that have been planned, especially for the location at the corner of Collins and Pat Dixon. I don't know if all of you are aware, some of you may not, I don't know. The retired educators started working in 2011 and making a monument that was going to be dedicated to all the retired educators. We sold bricks, and we had the names of each educator, how many years they taught, whatever else they wanted to put on it. We also asked, anybody that wanted to buy a brick could buy it. We sold some to some of the businesses around here in local areas. And right now, we have about 150 bricks put down. We, did a lot of research on the kinds of bricks to use. They're not just ordinary red bricks. They come from a company down in Florida, and they're engraved in a special way that makes them last a long time. Now, I don't know if I can get up here and do this. but
You do anything you want to.
This is the
You
monument.
dance to it if you want to.
All right. This is the monument, and you can see some of the bricks down here on the bottom. This is located over at the corner of Collins and Pat Dixon. And it's been up for about 4 years. We spent over, I don't know.
Let me interrupt you just a minute, Ms. Pope. Now, you've got another monument at Pine Forest, or Charles Rogers.
No, that's the only one we have right there.
Oh, this is yours out at College at the new school.
It's at the corner of where the middle school is at.
Oh, wait a minute, now, that's not Collins. Collins is the
Yeah, it
one.
is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Collins
Oh, you've
Street's-
got one, okay, all right.
Collins Street, it runs in front of the middle school.
Okay, all right.
So
Okay.
it's at the corner of Collins and Pat Dixon. It's
Okay.
right there on that corner.
All right, I want to make sure we're all on the same page there.
We spent, I don't know the exact amount, but we spent about $10,000 so far on what you see there.
It's nice.
Whenever the retired educators heard that this monument was going to be moved, well, I like to have a heart attack, I'm just going to tell you. I'm the one that designed the monument and spent a lot of time and effort on this thing. And there was another member that told me she didn't even sleep that night, worried about this thing having to be moved. If it is moved, I don't see how any of those bricks can be moved and they will be in the shape they're in right now. The bricks are put down on I don't know how many inch thick, but it's on concrete. So under all those bricks you see there's a layer of concrete. These bricks are put down on top of it. Now you'll see what's called, the red bricks that are there, those are called filler. And whenever we get a brick for a teacher who dies or one that retires, the guy takes the bricks up. Of course, he has to tear them up to get them up. And then he puts down, the brick that we have ordered. So I don't see any way possible that this can be moved without completely destroying the monument. Now, it might not mess up the granite part of it, but the bricks are gonna be completely gone. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about church now. Mayor Stone called me up right before Christmas and told me that if the monument had to be moved because of the roundabout, that he said the city would pay for it. Now, if that is done, if the monument's gonna have to be taken up, then we would like to have in writing, that you would replace this. And like I said, the cost was about $10,000. Now that is what I've got to say about the retired educators.
Well, let me stop you a minute there now.
Okay.
Council, does everybody understand what she's talking about now? And when they called concerned about it, I assured them that and here again, we'll leave it with an if, and that's what I think you want to hear.
Right.
If we go ahead with this project, any damage that we do to what you folks have diligently worked for, I think this council will certainly agree to make sure that it's placed according to your wishes.
I'm in favor.
Now, I would like it in writing, and I mean, it's not,
Okay.
I'm speaking for the whole association, I would like it in writing.
Well, I don't see any problem with us honoring that as well.
All right.
All right, now that you can proceed.
Now, I'm gonna give my opinion. This is not necessarily the opinion of everybody, the retired educators. All this has probably been hashed out because I've never been to one of your meetings. I don't know what you have discussed. But I had the question of why do you want to bring roundabouts? What is the purpose? Is it slowing down traffic? Is it for beautification? Is it only because of a grant? Is it because of accidents that have happened there? And I want to say this one thing, I called up the police department today to find out how many accidents have occurred at each one of those intersections over the last 5 years. The corner of Pat Dixon and Charles Rogers Boulevard, in the last 5 years, from January 1st, 2013 until now, has had 8 accidents. At the corner of Pat Dixon and Collins, for those 5 years, there have been 10. And none of these have been fatal. I looked on the internet and I was looking up if I could find this on the internet instead of calling the police department. And they only listed fatalities, and none of them have occurred on any of these two corners here. So, I mean, I don't know what the reason why it was thought that we needed these things here, but it's my opinion that maybe we can have some alternative solutions. And I know y'all probably talked about everything that I'm saying. What about a traffic light or a four-way stop? Or if, another thing, if the roundabout is going to be built on the corner of Collins and Pat Dixon, why not, and Mayor Stone told me, he said he was thinking about telling them to move the center line of that road over so it will not affect the monument. If that was done, then I have no problem with it being put there, you know.
The engineer says that can be done.
So that's another thing. Another concern, and I've heard several people talk to me about this, if the roundabouts are built, what about students that are walking home, or students that are riding bicycles, or students that are coming to, you know, wherever they live, coming to practice for one of the ball games? What's going to happen when they're at a roundabout and there's nobody's going to be stopping? They're going to be going all the time.
Let me interject 1 second on that.
Okay.
Wasn't there a project talking about sidewalks
Yeah.
all in our vicinity of our schools?
We've got a number of sidewalks connecting all of our schools working. Now, it's not it's an in-process system. It's not anything that's going to happen overnight, but it is working so that all of our students will have sidewalks from school to school to school, so that if they have an event going on, maybe music or voice or sports or whatever, that they can go to school on a sidewalk, and that's coming someday.
Well, I was just wondering about, you know, if the roundabout is there, you'd have to have sidewalk going over the road, you know, because they're going to have to cross right there to go from school to school. You want to say something?
There'll be crossways, just like.
There'll be a crossway where they can walk, okay. It's just stuff I thought of. What about farm equipment? I've seen a lot of farm equipment going on Pat Dixon Road. How would they get around? These are just things that's in my head, y'all. How would they go around the roundabout? Because they're gonna be bigger than a bus.
Well, I mean, they'll be big enough, I mean, the roundabout's big enough, you can take a tractor, do it whatever you need to. I mean, you're not taking them, you're not making a smaller road. I mean, they can still drive through the roundabout. I
It's
mean,
possible for them to do that.
Yeah, I mean, because you gotta figure, if they can drive down a regular 2-lane road, they can go through a roundabout. I mean, because you're gonna have 2 lanes in, because you're gonna have a lane in and a lane out.
Right.
So there's gonna be 2 lanes all the way around, so there's no issue with them going around that.
Okay, go ahead.
And another thing, and like I said, you probably already addressed all these things, but I have only been to 2 roundabouts in my entire life.
You couldn't get off.
And well, let me tell you what happened to me the first time I went on one. The first time I went on one, I got there and I didn't even know that it was there, and I'd never seen one. I said, and I just froze and I just sat there, and everybody behind me was beeping the horn and yelling out the window, and you know, and I didn't know what to do.
They were glad to see you.
But what I'm thinking about, what's going to happen to traffic? You know, like in that case, like I did, traffic backs up behind them, causing confusion. It may cause accidents, you know, people trying to go whatever way they can go. But anyway, that's just me. Have these things been voted in? I mean, is it a sure bet that they're going to be?
The council has voted to move on, yes.
Now, if at a further time, is there any way that you could re-vote?
Well, here's the thing. when we get the engineer through with design and y'all will look at it and see what we plan to do with your partners and other than the other, when you look and see what the plan is, we'll give you an opportunity before we start construction to look at it, and if you want to come back and have some input, but let the engineer get through with it and see if he won't solve most of your problems.
All right. Okay, that's all I had to say.
Okay,
I appreciate you.
gentlemen, you got any questions for Ms. Pope?
Thank you for
I
coming.
have a comment. I do appreciate you coming and representing the retired teachers. And I do believe that it'll all work out to the positive.
We're going to try our best to please everybody. That's difficult,
I know,
yeah.
but if you could move that center line over, that sure would help.
Well, I think when we get through, we'll show it to you before we start moving dirt, and I think you'll be pleased with what we do.
All right.
All right,
Thank you all very much.
Okay, see, I'm number 2. Gentlemen, I have finished, now it's not in the attorney's hand, but I finished, it's in my computer. The state, we sent our plat to Atlanta some months ago, Mr. Attorney, I don't know, and they returned it, and I had it in Jeff Davis County and the city of Hazlehurst's name, and they have sent it back, they want the state of Georgia on it, and not only that, but I've been sort of backpedaling a little bit on this land acquisition, that I knew more about what we were gonna do, because I know that all of y'all and all of the county commissioners keep asking me about it, we all want it done, but I still wanted to commit from the state before I sunk us for it, something we shouldn't be sunk for. But now they're asking that so apparently they must be getting pretty serious. They want their name on the plat, and they want the deed, book, and page. So what I'm going to do, you'd be surprised what I've had to do to the plat. It didn't work to get all that stuff the way they wanted. I had to redraw the plat, but that's no problem. It's the same piece of land. And but I think what we're gonna do, if Mrs. Attorney will help me with it, we're just gonna get reserved a book and page for the deed. And then that'll give us more time to get it drawn. But I'm gonna call the clerk and get a book and page for the, we can go ahead and file the plat, it won't hurt, it's not used, it's sitting there. We can file the plat and the book page and satisfy that. And I'm gonna get the clerk to reserve a deed book and page for the deed and then send it to them. And that'll give us a little more time.
Okay.
All right, if y'all got any questions, now, the other thing, Mr. Attorney, why don't you update us on our 341 project out here at the old recreation field, briefly.
Both the city and county have submitted their commitment letters to the Jeff Davis County Athletic Association. Ken and I right now are working on drafting a proposed deed from the group to Jeff Davis County, subject to the land restrictions that they've asked for, and also drafting a deed from Jeff Davis County to the city of Hazlehurst for our proposed easement for the splash pad. I took Carl out there on Friday and got him up to speed on all of the, where the location for the splash pad's going and everything. I've got the number for the engineer who's gonna be building it. I'm going to get Carl in touch with him so that they can be on the same page as far as what the water and sewer requirements are. And I also found out yesterday that it's an 8-week turnaround time from start to finish to build it. So it's going to take 8 weeks to get it constructed.
Okay, so we got to begin to move. If I'm going to get my swimming suit on and get out there in that splash pad with the first
God,
contact.
don't do that. I've seen you down the road in the front yard, come on.
I ain't defending that lawsuit.
All right, you won't blow my blood pressure to go. All right, let's go to 2A. Chief Wasden, come and make your presentation, buddy.
So I apologize for having to move things around, but we did expect to have our ladder truck in today due to weather, maybe Thursday, so I might not get Thursday evening. The reason why is because they're going to bring the truck in and we're going to do the training session with all of our drivers and our full-time and part-time so that they'll be ready to set the ladder truck up when we get it in service. I had a few things that were going to be on the agenda, and I'm going to start with the first one real quick. I've lost some of my folks that were here earlier because we got paid for structure fire, so they have left to go to that. John Rogers is with me, Lord Dial was here, and then Dustin was here. had several more that would come, but we decided to keep a small scale. And the reason why is we want to ask the council to give us permission to name our training facility and name it after the person that had the vision for that training center. That was not me. That vision come from Larry Anthony, which was the chief before me, and he passed away in 2017. So we would like to name it after him. And I mean, John could sit there and tell you all kinds of things about Larry. Lord could, I could, but he was a great chief. He moved on and went to the private sector, federal paper company, and I took his position. And we have just been able to follow through with his vision. Those of you that was around back in 1986, if you rode by that plot of land where the fire station is, it said future home of the Hazelhurst Fire Headquarters and Training Center. Well, it took us 30 years to make the training center part of it to happen. But we do want to name it, and our goal is to finish it. We're getting close. We want to finish it, paint it, and do a dedication. We're going to put a monument out there at the training center. That'll probably have the name of the councilman at the time that we do that, the mayor, and then the name of the training center. I'm not asking for a vote tonight. I will not be here Thursday night, but I mean, we would like to.
Would you like for me to put the request for naming the new training center, the Larry Anthony Training Center, on the agenda for Thursday?
Yes, sir. If y'all will vote on it now, I may not be here Thursday night, but I want to talk to you about it tonight.
We need you to vote. Anybody got any objection to that?
I don't.
All right, Ms. Clerk, put that on the agenda, somewhere on the agenda, and we'll handle that for you. I don't think there's any, if y'all got any questions about it or any hesitancy at all, with them recommending, I don't see how we could do anything but do what you asked. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Next item is, I have some mandated training, which actually we're trying to prepare for our ISO grading. Thank you, John.
Yes, sir.
Our ISO grading that is coming up possibly between August of this year and August of 19. And we have the ability to get some extra points. So I've been working with Brian Newell, is my fire inspector. When we lost Wayne Feller, he was my fire inspector. When he moved on to work for the state, we since put Brian in signed him up for the classes for him to do that. Classes have been full. We were able to pull some strings and get him in the class that started last week. He had to go for a week last week and a week next week. And although we didn't get it before the council, before the training, we had to pull strings to get him in this class. So I'm just asking for y'all to approve him to finish his
Oh,
training.
you asking forgiveness first?
Yeah, forgiveness for last week and permission for this coming week.
Sometimes they say it's easier to get forgiveness than it is permission.
If we can get those 3 points from ISO for that and help us out, I think everyone would be pleased with that.
All right, we'll, and then Wednesday, taking the next session now?
He starts Monday, next Monday.
Next Monday. Well, can't we just do both
Sure.
Thursday night?
Yes.
That item will be on
Again,
there.
I'm here to talk to you about it in case I don't make it here Thursday night.
Okay. All right.
The next item is to, we have, and I think each one of you know about the new mandate, or actually the new mandate for the insurance for volunteer and full-time firefighters that we have the cancer legislation that passed.
Excuse me a minute, John, these two things, he's got bids or he placed right on the bottom of you, they were laying on your desk when you came in. Two different bids.
Actually, we did get 3 bids, but there's one bid that did not meet the law. So technically, we cannot accept that bid if it doesn't meet the law. The bids have to meet the law.
Yeah.
So, we have a bid from actually, GMA.
Hold on just a minute. John, yeah, that's one right there. You can, and if you got the other, you got them both? Yeah, all right, better, I'm sorry, better, I wanna make sure my better order, yeah. All right, go ahead.
We have a bid from GMA, and then we have a bid from our local insurance, Brenda Reynolds. And you can see both the premiums right there. Both of those do meet the law. And again, that's extremely important. You've got to meet the law with this, because if action on ISO standard training comes in and we don't have a certificate to prove that we have this and we meet the law, they can pull my compliance, which means we stop resisting as a fire department.
How long do we have, chief, to get this in force?
The law actually, actually took place January 1st. That's
I
when the
know,
law
we
went
have
effective.
what period of time to get it?
We got a little bit of time. The standard training's not gonna come in and push us. They are gonna be pushing this year, though. They're gonna be audited departments, and they're gonna be asked for that this year. So it all depends on where we fall in this year as far as being audited. Normally, it's the middle to usually May to August at the time that we get audited.
I'm gonna ask you so that we can, digest this a little bit better than spending money, so we can look at how we, is all this, by the way, and did you plan for any amount in your budget with this?
No, sir.
All right, well, look, I'm gonna ask you if it's okay. We're gonna handle the other 2 items, put them on the agenda. Let's put this off till, we can look at it a little bit more.
Now,
I think we've got some time.
right, and we also gonna have some money because, the position that I was given this year, we pulled the full year salary in our budget, and she's only gonna be working half the year, so I have some funding.
But again, we've got time to implement this. Yeah.
I think if we do it, as long as we're showing we're moving forward and we do it, it would be nice to do it within the next 3 months,
Okay.
and I think we'll be okay there. But I mean, I think, you look at the premiums, there is a little bit of difference in between the two. GMA by far has a little bit better price, so.
All right.
And one last thing, I want to do, this is just for informational purposes only. And we're actually been working with the city attorney today. Along with this new legislation and the National Indemnity Fund, the law states, and has for some time, that standards of training, all of our volunteer and full-time firefighters have to get 24 hours of training. We've been preaching this for the last couple of years, that this was going to be something that the state would start pushing, and they did. As of December 31st, any of our volunteers that did not meet the training requirements had to be terminated. So we got letters going to go out this week, so you're probably going to hear from some people that, and this is city and county. City and county-wide, we're doing 17 letters. Some city, some county. You're probably
With
going
a
to hear
total of
from some people.
17 that failed to meet the requirements?
Well, actually, a total of 43 is coming off the roster. But we had people that were county firefighters for years ago, and we left them on our standards of training because their certification was still good. The state was not pushing the issue with 24 hours, so their certification was still good. As of January 1st, those that do not have the 24 hours are terminated or suspended. They're terminated from the state and the state standards of training, so they're gone. They're through anyway. So at this point, we're going to purge the roster and standards of training for both the city and county and purge all those people off.
Won't that help our end of the year, checks that we have to dish out to that gets to be a sizable
Very
amount?
little,
Very little change?
very little, because most of those people won't come to anything anyway.
Okay, all right.
So you're going to see very little change.
Okay, well,
But we are going to have to, especially on the county side, we're going to have to replace these people. And I have no choice but to replace them, because we're going to have some stations in the county that's going to have 2 to 3 firefighters on the station, period. That's it. Got to have a minimum of 6 with ISO. So we're going to have to do some work. But this is something we've been preaching for at least, for several years now. This is coming, this is coming, this is coming. Well, the indemnity fund required it. The state just kind of eased along with it. Well, also the cancer policy requires it.
Yeah.
So they've got to have that training.
when do you think they're gonna come back in here and look at, do the audit that will affect our IS rating?
Between August of this year and August of next year, we should be up
All right, and right now, our ISO rating is what?
4.
And how, is it possible for us to improve it with our circumstances?
Our training center should give us 6 to 8 points.
Okay.
That's all points, that's not calculated points, that's all points that come off if you're at 47 points, I mean, you get 8 points, you're now 39. And then that takes you into a different classification. That's just for an example.
We need to keep watching that because that affects everybody's insurance.
Yes, sir, it does.
And whether people realize it or not, it makes a difference.
That's just information, because you may hear some people call you and say, I got booted off the fire department. Well, you didn't get your training hours. If you didn't get your training hours, and we have drills, we have multi-company drills, we have Saturday drills, So,
You have plenty of opportunities.
You have opportunity there for people to get it, they just, some of them just don't come in.
All right, good enough, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Question,
Yes, sir.
will they have, time that they can be reinstated if they, are wanting to be reinstated?
What's required is once you have lost your certification, you go back through that complete training again. You have to, those folks have to reapply to have a position back with the department. Then they have to go back through that training, whether they were a registered firefighter or a firefighter one, they got to go back through that whole training and pass that test.
But they still have that
And
opportunity?
then they will reinstate their certification, but they have to go back through the whole, everything all over again. Once you lose it, you've lost it. So, yes, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, number 3, Mr. Griffin, I believe you've got that.
Yeah, numbering the houses for address locations and everything, and it brought to my attention, that we've got several houses throughout the city and whatever that do not have numbers either on the house or on the mailbox. And I know this was mandated back in '99 and everything, because that's when I moved up here. As a matter of fact, there's an actual, this is the ordinance from the city of Hazelhurst requiring display of assigned street numbers. And it is dated 19 August 1999. And what it is we have people from water and sewer, street department, whatever, going to houses and whatever, and there may be a stretch of houses that has no numbering on them. And it would probably take and be beneficial too for, the fire department and everything else. This was mandated when 911 came out for addresses. Well, we're not following up on it, and like I said, that leaves us where we have, they go to a street, they need to take and find a house, there's 3 or 4 of them in a row, no numbers on them, but what did I cut